Please open your Old Testaments with me to the last chapter of the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 31 will be the centerpiece for all that we'll be doing for the remainder of the morning. As we talk about often, there is a daily Bible read program that's sitting up on the back tables, and we normally go along the line of the New Testament read, a chapter a day, and probably most of the lessons that get presented here are derived from that. A lot of our Wednesday night invitations also. But in that read, there is an Old Testament read that goes simultaneously, where we just start in Genesis 1 and take off. And we're in Ecclesiastes today. Ecclesiastes, I think, 5 was this morning. So we read through Proverbs last week, and we came across Proverbs 31, a chapter that we know really, really well. And so we're going to spend some time just making sure we understand what's going on in the context of that letter, who the author is, and maybe a few takeaways. Today's lesson ties to the theme that the shepherds here have chosen. This is our first year to do this in 2025, a theme for the year, which just becomes a tether to make sure that every month or so we go back to it and we look at it, and it's living morally in an immoral world. There needs to be something about the way that we behave with our bodies, something about what we put into our bodies, something about how we treat other people. It's got an auto thing going. We'll get there in a minute. But something about the way we treat other people that is different than the world around us. We ought to be increasingly different than the world around us in terms of how we are. And so Proverbs 31, we'll see if it stays there. Alex is going back to fix everything, but we'll see if it stays there. Proverbs 31 is a terrific text to look at some timeless ideas of what it means to be moral and different. Now, how many of you are familiar with this chapter? Is anybody going, I didn't know Proverbs had 31 chapters. This is interesting. Probably not. We know this as the chapter beginning in verse 10 down through about verse 27 that describes this faithful, godly, virtuous woman that presents herself as an excellent wife to her husband. This chapter is used a lot in ladies' studies, older and younger, to try to learn how we can be industrious and hardworking, but more than anything, how ladies, verse 25, can have this strength and dignity, and they wear it as their clothing. There are ministries, Proverbs 31 ministries, there's weekends, there's books written about it, and there's a lot here for young ladies. And I don't want to take anything away from that. The large chunk in the middle is a great standard for morality among women, and our women need a standard of morality because we don't live in a culture that has much of one left. But what I think might be missing here, and we'll get to all of that, is that there's something actually going on pretty unique. Let me ask you this. Who wrote Proverbs 31? If I ask you who wrote Proverbs, you would say, oh, the book of Proverbs is written by Solomon. That's true. Solomon wrote 29 of the chapters, but Solomon did not write Proverbs 30, and he did not write Proverbs 31. Look in verses 1 and 2. Proverbs 31, verse 1, the words of King Lemuel. Now, we know very little about him, but we know that he is king. He said the oracle which his mother taught him, or the burden that his mother put on him. What, my son? What, son of my womb? What, son of my vows? And so what you're really looking at here, and I think this is just a different way of approaching what's in it, is what you're really looking at is a king, a man, recalling the wise teachings of a woman. In this case, his mother. And there's a lot in Proverbs. For the sake of time, we'll skip it. But there is a ton in Proverbs about listen to your mama. And listen to your dad. And listen to wise counsel. To our younger people in the room, I'm going to let you know a couple of things. If your mom and dad love you and they love God, they know more about life than you do. And they probably know more about you than you do. And it means that the wisdom that they have to share through their experience and through their life are great things, and you would do well to listen to them very carefully. There's a lot of Proverbs about that. Now, here's my question. He's recalling in Proverbs 31, he goes, let me tell you the things my mom taught me that have made me a great king, a great leader, a great ruler. All men want to be leaders of their home and successful in their lives. Let me tell you, and it's not one thing, it's 5 things. And so we're going to take just a few minutes, and I hope this serves as a great moral compass in an immoral world. And you'll see at the end, this is for men and women, but it's particular here to men. Number one, he said, number one, verse 3, flee sexual immorality. And to add a little bonus note to that, flee immoral people. In particular, in the text in verse 3, do not give your strength to women or your ways to that which destroys kings. His mother told him, look, you can go out into the world and you can find people who will interact with you in an immoral way. You can date people and you can randomly meet people and you can move in with people and you can do all kinds of sinful sexual things, but it will destroy you. It will destroy your moral compass. It will destroy God's plan for your life. There's no way God's plan runs through immoral behavior. It never has and it never will. And so you need to be careful of the women in this case. It would go the same if you reversed it, speaking to young women. You need to be careful that you're not spending your time with people who believe that immorality is okay. Because if they believe it, you will eventually believe it, and you may even do so with them. Now, one of the things I want you to see as we move through is that while that's just alluded to very briefly in Proverbs 31, it draws from, all five of these, they draw from Solomon's wisdom. So we could go back and spend the rest of the whole morning just looking at what Solomon wrote about this, though his life did not quite bear it out. Look back with me in Proverbs 5. I'll show you chapters 5, 6, and 7. Solomon echoing the words of a wise mother to her son who would be king. In chapter 5, in verse 3, for the lips of an adulteress drip honey, and smoother than oil is her speech, but in the end she is bitter as wormwood. Sharp as a two-edged sword, her feet go down to death, her steps take hold of Sheol. She does not ponder the path of life, her ways are unstable. If there's someone in your life who's willing to be sexually immoral and thinks that's okay, they have no idea what they're doing, and they want you to do it with them. They have no idea what it will cost, but it will cost them a lot. Chapter 6 and in verse 27, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not get burned? Chapter 6, verse 27. Or can a man walk on hot coals and his feet not be scorched? So is the one who goes into his neighbor's wife. Whoever touches her will not go unpunished. Immorality has no limits because it doesn't love anyone but self. Immorality may have you engaging with people who belong to someone else. We have a history in our family of one of our family members losing their life because of their interest in another man's wife. The end is destruction in immorality. Can't be a great king, can't be a great man. You can't live a life if you're engaged in such things. Chapter 7 and verse 21. Chapter 7. This text is about the woman. Verse 10, her dress. Verse 13, her touch. Verse 15, her flattering words. Verse 16, her intimate environment. It's a whole sermon there. But in verse 21, with her many persuasions, she entices him with her flattering lips. She seduces him. Suddenly he follows her. Suddenly he follows her. As an ox goes to the slaughter, or as one in fetters to the discipline of a fool, until an arrow pierces through his liver. As a bird hastens to the snare, so he does not know. What does it say? He does not know. What does he not know? That immorality with immoral people, where there is not a moral standard, will cost you your life. Maybe physically, maybe now. Absolutely later. Go back to Proverbs 31. Mom says, listen up. You want to live a great life? You want to do great things? You want to be a great leader? Avoid immorality and immoral people. That's only short-term service of your pleasures in flesh. Number 2, abstain from strong drink. There's a lot in Proverbs about alcohol and drinking things that compromise the way you think and the way you feel and the way you reason. And so look with me in verses 4 through 7. Proverbs 31, 4 through 7. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, or for rulers to desire strong drink. For they will drink and forget what is decreed, and pervert the rights of all the afflicted. Give strong drink. You want to give somebody strong? Give strong drink to him who's perishing. And he's not advising that. He's just saying, that's about the way that would go. Strong drink to him who's perishing. Wine to him whose life is bitter. Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his trouble no more. Now, he's not advising that, I don't think, but he's saying, look, if strong drink's for anybody, it's for the person whose life is busted and broken and finished. And there's no hope, and he's just filled with bitterness trying to cope with it. It's not okay then, but like that would be the only place. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's not for you to drink wine. It's not for you to have strong drink, because it will change the way you think and feel and reason. It will change the way you see and interact with other people, and it will get in the way. Now, we can't get into the whole long thing today about what constitutes strong drink, but I will make an assertion that modern day alcohol sources, 9 out of 10 of every alcoholic source you would bring up to me is stronger than the strong drink that he'd be referencing here. And that which is milder would still be stronger than like their maximum wine output. Like I'm talking about anything you see on the shelf that's got content in it of an alcoholic regard that's for leisure or fun is also for compromise. And that's not what God's people do. Does the Bible talk about that? All over the place. But so did Solomon. Look in chapter 20. Proverbs chapter 20. Chapter 20 and verse 1. The king's heart. Oh, that's chapter 21. Chapter 20 and verse 1. Wine is a mocker. Wine, just wine is a mocker. Strong drink is a brawler. Whoever is intoxicated by it is not wise. So much of our modern day alcohol instantly compromises us, and God's people will not be intoxicated with wine. Look at Proverbs chapter 23. It's a text we know pretty well on this. Proverbs chapter 23, verse 29. Proverbs 23, 29. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has contentions? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Don't know how I got that. Who has redness of eyes? Those who linger long over wine. Those who go to taste mixed wine. Do not look on the wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly. At the last it bites like a serpent, stings like a viper. Your eyes will see strange things. Your mind will utter perverse things. And you will be like one who lies down in the middle of the sea or lies down on the top of a mast. They struck me, but I did not become ill. They beat me, but I did not know it. When shall I awake? And then here's the addictive cycle of it all. Look at verse 29. All the stuff you don't want. Woe, sorrow, contentions, complaining, wounds, redness of eyes. Alcohol gives you all those things. And as soon as it's done giving it to you and you sleep through the night, you get up the next day and you ask it for more. Lemuel's mom said, listen, this is not what kings need. This is not what leaders need. This is not for you. Go back to our text. Proverbs 31, flee immorality and immoral people. Flee from strong drink and that which intoxicates or compromises. And then you get this interesting little verses 8 and 9. You know, you use your mouth to drink, right? You open your mouth and you drink it. It comes back with this. Open your mouth, but let's put forth something. Open your mouth for the mute. For the rights of all, this is Proverbs 31:8. For the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the afflicted and the needy. Now go back to verse 5, and I'll show you this connection. Verse 5 was about alcohol. They will drink and forget what is decreed and pervert the rights of all the afflicted. Lemuel, listen, kid. If the Lord allows you to grow up and have impact and be an influencer and have control, you need to use your life helping people. Serve people. Give a voice to those who have no voice. Give relief to those who are afflicted. Bring justice to those who are oppressed. We see people around us like this all the time, who are in need, who are desolate, who've been mistreated. Who will represent them? Better question, who will care? Lemuel's mom says, you need to care. But what she's telling him is this. The best way not to care for others is to focus on yourself. Best way. Think only of you, and particularly, think about this, because you might go like, how are these three things connected? I mean, if this is an SAT question and they're like, eliminate the one that doesn't belong, you'd be like, well, number 3 doesn't belong. I mean, the first 2 make sense. Get rid of a bad thing, get rid of a bad, like what's number 3? Because if you're engaged in 1 and 2, you're helpless and hopeless with number 3. Does that make sense? Just nod and I'll move on. If I'm busy looking at me, what do I want, what do I feel, what are my pleasures, and I got power, I'm just going to keep using people to service my power. I'm certainly not going to use my power to service people. or give up what I have to help others if I'm all about getting. And that's what immorality is. Immorality is about getting. All you give is pain, and that's all you get in the end. Alcohol and compromise and me and these things, it looks like you're getting, but you're not, and no one else is either. We could talk about this all day, but the Bible, look at some of these verses in Proverbs. Look at Proverbs 14. Proverbs 14:21. Proverbs 14:21, he who despises his neighbor sins. You go, I don't despise my neighbor. Like, that's pretty rough. But happy is he who is gracious to the poor. That's what he means. If I'm not gracious to the poor, and I'm not helping anybody with my resources, that is the same. This is this antithetic, like this building upon synonym. It's the same as hating my neighbor or despising my neighbor. We need to help. You need to be used. I tell you where your resources don't need to go, number one and number two. Because there's a better place for those resources. Look in chapter 19. We'll work our way back up towards our text. Chapter 19 and in verse 17. One who is gracious to a poor man lends to the Lord. And he, that being the Lord, will repay him for his good deeds. You thought about that? What if you get to the judgment and the Lord's like, I'm going to repay you for all your good deeds? You're like, really? Yes. Every time you help someone who is poor, hurting, alone, in need, I will help you. And to the extent that you did not, I will not. Jesus taught that anyway. I mean, I'm not making up anything here. Jesus literally taught that in Matthew 25. What we're going to need to do is not be so self-focused and my pleasure inundated they were able to do that. Look in let's get back up near where we are, chapter 28, Proverbs 28 and 27. 28 and 27. Proverbs 28 and 27, he who gives to the poor will never want. But he who shuts his eyes how? To the poor, to the destitute, to the afflicted, to the mute, to the in need. He who gives to them will never want. God will make sure of it. But he who shuts his eyes to them will have many curses. What's interesting about number one and number two is that people are chasing happiness in those things. And what it's doing is it's leading them further away from the thing that actually accesses happiness. Number three, I believe God. And I believe that God says if we help those in need, then he will take care of us. Go back to Proverbs 31. That's three things. The three that you likely don't hear as much about in Proverbs 31. That are the real setup and impetus for the things that come later. You're going to need healthy home relationships so that this can flourish. You can do these things if you have no help at home. You can still do them. They're just going to be much, much harder. Young people, listen. You can still do these three things without a godly help in your home. But it will be much, much, much harder. So Lemuel's mom said, you pick yourself a good wife. You make sure that you pick a wife who also wants to be sexually pure, who also wants to stay uncompromised, who also loves other people, and will help you be a better servant. And that's verses 10 and following. Let's read just a few of the verses. An excellent wife, verse 10, who can find? For her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband, this is the mom talking to Lemuel. He's recalling all this. My mom told me, the heart of a husband trusts in her. That's what I want. And he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. Like, yes, that's what you need. You need a woman who does you good and not evil all the days of your life. Verse 25, it goes through her industriousness, and there's some commentary on whether she literally did all this stuff or just like figuratively represented her awesomeness. I don't think it's crucial, so I'm going to go straight to verse 25. Verse 25, strength and dignity. This is the kind of wife you're looking for. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. That in and of itself is pretty amazing. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness, which number three, that's what he needs, is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and she does not eat the bread of idleness. I think that's the point of all the buying and selling and building clothes and shipyards and stuff, is she is not lazy. She takes great pride in serving God. She takes great pride in supporting her husband. She takes great pride in raising her kids. and she loves those things. And does the New Testament talk about that? Yes, it does. We're going to be in Titus soon in our study, where it's going to talk to young women about those exact things. And so, yes, it's a great point to go, young ladies, be that. Great point. It gets made here all the time. But the more on the nose point is young men who get really stupid and really distracted and really confused and also really weighted down on the burden of growing up to be men, that you just like forget all this stuff and then come in my office 10 years from now and go, Kris, could you fix all this for me? I don't know. Because God's been just like pleading with you through your whole teenage life, and then He's just been pleading with you to be morally pure and to not drink things and smoke things and take things and to care more about people than yourself. And those beautiful, wonderful, godly women, they're led right through your path, were gifts to you. Well, one of them was a gift to you. They're not all gifts. You're not Solomon. But you passed them up. You passed them up. There have been young men in churches who passed up godly women because they wanted number one. How do you think that worked out for them? Any guesses? So yes, ladies, and we'll get to this in a minute, young ladies, but also there. And then, of course, when you find a woman of faith, or any woman you choose to live your life with, that was your choice to do so, be an awesome husband. Be an excellent husband. Be one that praises her, that supports her. Look at the text with me. By the way, there were passages about wives throughout Proverbs. We skipped over those. I can give you those references later. Chapter 12, chapter 18, chapter 19. But then he comes back and he goes, be an excellent, supportive husband. Verse 28, her children rise up and bless her. Her husband also, he praises her, saying, many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all. By the way, quick little marriage counseling note. This is called romantic love. Caring love is, here's a check, enjoy your roof. Sexual love is its own thing. It's its own thing. Romantic love is neither of those. It is making her feel as special as she is. It is making sure that she believes she is the most unique and beautiful and desired person in your entire life. That's romance. You excel them all. I thank you for your faith. I praise you for your strength. And that's what it means to be a godly husband in large part here. He praises her, saying, many daughters have done nobly. There's a lot of great people out there, but you're the one. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain. That's also a good point to tell them that they are, in fact, beautiful. But your greater point is charm is deceitful. I mean, remember Proverbs 5, 6, and 7? The adulterous woman was incredibly charming. She knew exactly what to wear and how to talk and what to do. And beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. By whom? By whom? By her husband and by her kids. I don't know about you guys. I won't talk about my family or anything, but there's a lot of things my kids can do that I'll let go. I'm probably too much of a let go guy. But the one thing they will not do is speak hurtfully to their mother. She is my wife, and I will protect her from everyone. That's the kind of relationship that works its way back up. Like you see it, you start here and you go, and maybe you're sitting there going, man, our marriage is not good and we're not there. Well, you got who you get who you get, you don't throw a fit. But what you do is you say, let's study Proverbs 31 together, man or woman or husband, wife. Let's support the part of each other that's godly. Let's praise that. Let's work on establishing that. Let's go through Proverbs 31 and I'll be this way and you be this way. And then let's unite in at least that little bit of faith that we're working on. And let's just let's open our home to people. Let's serve people. Let's go teach our kids that we can go give to people. And let's get rid of the garbage. Numbers 1 and 2. That's getting in the way. This is an incredible chapter for morality in an immoral world. Now, a couple of things as we wind this down. A couple of things. To young men We've just made the points. We spent 30 minutes making them. I don't know how long I've been up here, but this was largely to young men. Listen to the advice of your mama. Listen to the advice of men who know. But I think it also can be for younger women. Not just the obvious thing is younger women, be right, be godly so that you will find a good husband. That's all good. But I also think that, like in our culture, women have a lot of independence too. Women almost get to behave, young ladies get to behave today like young men did in the past. They can go get their own job, and they can move out and live on their own, and they can establish their own independence. And so basically, I'm saying all that to say this. All 5 things here is for a man out there on his own trying to build a godly life. And so young ladies who step out on your own to try to build a godly life, you get the exact same 5 points. It's just a little gender switch in verses 4 and 5. Our godly women, same thing. Don't pursue immorality, not as a source of love or attraction or worth. It'll never work out. Abstain from compromise. Be a beautiful servant of other people. You'll attract the right kind of people when you do that. Choose an excellent husband of faith and be an excellent supportive wife. I just came up with a few words. I don't know if they're good or not. Listen, learn, and fight. Don't start with fight. You won't know what you're fighting for. You may fight for all the wrong things. Listen. Listen to the counsel of Lemuel's mother. Listen to the counsel of godly men and women, those of which have made many great mistakes and those who know what they're talking about. Listen and learn something. Learn something. I know that's tough. I think there's older Christians that show up on Sunday, and the last thing they're going to do while they're here is learn something. Well, they need humility too. So older people teach the younger people. We've all got stuff to learn. And nobody's got it figured out. And we don't get defensive when we're challenged to learn. Older people, I'm going to get to us in a minute. I said us when I said older people. We got to listen and learn too. Show them how to listen and learn. But young people, listen and learn. And then go out and fight for the wisdom that you have, for what you see in Scripture. And then, again, we could easily go to Titus 2, and we could talk about older women with younger women, although interesting in our case, it was an older woman teaching her son, but older women, older men, and I just want to give you guys, I don't know where I'm at. I feel like I'm a tweener here, but for the older men and women, let me just give you 3 words too. Show, tell, and ask. I think we're pretty good at the middle thing, aren't we? Sit down with your teenager, sit down with a younger person and go, let me tell you what you need to do. You need to get rid of things in your life that are distracting you from the truth. You need to be as hospitable and caring and kind and giving as you can be. You need to choose the right people in your life. I put that in the middle, older men and women, because by itself, it won't do much. It may even do harm. Older men and women, first thing you want to do is you want to show it to them. Let me show you in my life what I'm working on. Let me show you in my life how I purged pornography out of my history, how I purged self-centeredness and greed at all costs, and all the years I missed of church so I could chase money that I don't even know where it is now. Like, let me show you alcoholism. Let me show you what it's like to leave sin behind. Let me show you what it's like to do what's right. And then let me tell you it's what you need to do. And then ask. Ask him, like, who do you want to be? How do you want to live? What do you want it all to look like? Somebody sits down with you and goes, I want it to look like you two. Okay, well, it may not be as shiny as it looks like from the outside, but I'll tell you this. We're trying to make our life about Jesus. And we're trying to make sure everything we do runs through the filter of the Christ. I can show it to you and tell you, and I can ask you, is that what you want? And so in the end, Proverbs 31 is about helping a woman build out a godly life, and it's about so much more. Can I just add one more thing? I'm going to leave this on the slide. This is all you get. But, after Proverbs in our Bible read, where do we go next? We went to Ecclesiastes. So we got a lot of Solomon, who gave a lot of good advice. In fact, I'll show you a couple things with the men. Proverbs 5, there's great verses. I'll give them to you later. But there's great Proverbs for these. Solomon echoed everything that Lemuel's mother said. But then you get to Ecclesiastes. Go to Ecclesiastes 2. Solomon knew all of this, taught it, wrote about it. And then he quite literally went out and did the opposite of all of it. There's a verse in chapter 2 I want you to see in Solomon's writings. 3 words. You see it, verse 17? I hated life. Does that sound great to you? I hated life. You see it? Chapter 2, Ecclesiastes 2:17. I hated life. You go, well, I bet he must have had a miserable life going on. I hated it. It had no value. It had no purpose. It meant nothing. You just die and it's gone. What kind of life did you live, Solomon, that you hated? You guys ready for this? See the 5 things behind me? He decided to invert and reverse all of them. And as a result of going against these 5 things, and he had the means to do it, the result was a life he hated. Will you listen to me? You can go find this out if you want. You can be immoral, you can drink that, and you can hate everybody, and you can pick whoever you want, and you're going to hate the life that comes out of that. And Solomon's going to be like, I told you that. In the text it says, chapter 2, verse 17, I hated life. When you go back and look earlier in the text, chapter 2, verse 1, I said to myself, I will test you with pleasure, so enjoy yourself. Verse 2, laughter. Verse 2, pleasure. I explored, verse 3, my mind had to stimulate my body with wine while my mind was guiding me wisely, and how to take hold of folly. He's like, I tried pleasure, I tried goods, I tried wine. Verse 4, I tried more stuff. Verse 4, I did it for myself. If you're into marking, verse 4, for myself. Verse 5, for myself. Verse 6, for myself. I got male and female slaves, verse 7. I got tons of concubines, verse 8. For myself, verse 8. For myself again, verse 8. I went out and I slept with who I wanted. I drank what I wanted. I made everybody else serve me. I chose hundreds of wives. I don't even know their names. I'm not a faithful husband to any one of them. I did all that for myself. And I hated life. That's wisdom. Well, in fact, in his case, that's just experience. For us, as we read it, it's wisdom. Do you trust? And here's what he ended with, and I want to end with this. Okay, so what do you do then, Solomon? Well, I think he would say you listen to Lemuel's mom, honestly is what he would say. But he would also say this, there is nothing better for a man, chapter 2, verse 24, than to eat and drink and tell himself that his labor is good. Nourish your body, do your work. This also I have seen that it is from the hand of God. Number 1, live a life that receives the things from God's hand. From God's hand. Sobriety and peace and love. For who can eat and who can have enjoyment without him? Well, a lot of people try it. Solomon tried it. Who can eat and who can have enjoyment without God? For to a person who is good in his sight, he has given wisdom and knowledge and joy, while to the sinner, he has given the task of, gathering and collecting so that he might give it to one who is good in God's sight. This too is vanity and striving after the wind. Verse 24, receive only the things that are from the hand of God. Verse 25, make sure everything you enjoy and engage in is with God. And verse 26, God gives blessings to those who do what he says in his way. If you need something a little bit more on the nose, let's finish in the very last 2 verses of Ecclesiastes, the conclusion. When all arguments have been made, all justifications have been made. There's been lots of justifications across the board for all 5 of these things to go around them, to subvert them. But the conclusion, when all has been heard, is this: fear God, keep his commandments. Because this applies to every person. For God will bring every act to judgment, everything which is hidden, whether it is good or evil. You want to fear God and keep his commandments? Be morally pure in mind and body. Keep your mind astute and sober. Do not compromise it for anything. Love people. Serve people. Help people. Build a family of faith. And be a factor for faith in that family. The blessings of God come to those. If you need to repent and turn to God, turn away from sin, get help, or just enter into a new, fresh relationship through the water of baptism with Jesus Christ. Come now as we stand and sing.